Hello everybody and welcome! Wasn't it a beautiful, beautiful day out there? This has been an amazing week for lovely weather in Sonoma County. My name is Tawny Tosconi. I have my own company, Tosconi Event and Management Solutions, and I am your new president. This is my first time up here. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be up here. So I was thinking, I think it was about 19 years ago, when I had just accepted the position as CEO of the Sonoma County Fair. Ross Liscombe on the board, and those of you who serve board members know what it means when a board member walks in and says, "You got to go to this thing. It's at 7 o'clock in the morning." I'm like, oh, just what I need. But I have to say, it has been such a wonderful ride. It's been amazing. You all are amazing. You really are the pulse of Sonoma County's business community, and I thank you for all of that. I'm excited to say that we've had our first board meeting. We have six new board members who joined us with some great ideas and things. So we're still working on our deep dive on goal setting, but in essence, it's going to be around governance and also increasing our membership. So it has been wonderful. The people that are in this room, I have to say, is just absolutely amazing. But let's get to today. So today's program is especially timely. We're joined by a strong panel of regional leaders who will be sharing updates on transportation and infrastructure, issues that directly impact how our business operates and grows and stays competitive here in Sonoma County. For businesses, mobility it affects how employees go to work, how good work gets done, and how competitive our region remains. This morning's program brings together the leaders responsible for planning and delivering transportation and infrastructure projects already underway and those planned for our future. Our goal is to give you a clear, business-focused understanding of what's ahead, what it means for our employees and our communities, and where opportunities exist for collaboration between the public and private sectors. Before we start, though, I have to give a few shout-outs. Don Mills, amazing man. Don Mills. Sound Ideas Media, he's been here capturing our programs, amazing part of our community, and also a giver here to Alliance. And also, thank you to all of you for showing up. I know sometimes it's a little tough to get here in the mornings if you've got kids to get off to school or things to do, but we appreciate you being here because as we work together, we're going to make Sonoma County a stronger business community. So thank you so much for your service, and I get to introduce our amazing Executive Director, Ty Mooney. Come on up, Ty.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, you're awake. All right, so welcome again to another great program here today. We're planning this program, and it's funny, there's always a little marketing that goes out to promote it, and it's transportation and infrastructure is not the sexiest topic. But I was thinking in the car that it does get the people going, right? All right, puns aside though. This is an important conversation. Tawny touched on it a bit, that we do have our roads, our bridges, our water, all the ways that those move, that's impacted by the work that these gentlemen do. So I'm really glad to have them here today. We're gonna have kind of a regional look, we're gonna have a county look, and we're gonna have a city look at how we move people and product, right? This is every day. It's how we get our kids to school, it's how we get ourselves to work, it's what determines how people decide to apply for working for you or not based on that commute, right? So this is an important conversation, and to me, I mean, I'm in a house renovation, so I always call it the water heater project, where it's like, you know, it's something that if it's going right, you don't really notice it, but if it's going wrong, it's a problem, and you notice it, and I'm sure there's a lot of calls that go out when it does go wrong. So anyways, I appreciate the speakers for coming today, and for all of you for joining us for another great conversation. Our meetings this year are going to be the first Wednesday every time. So usually we have some holidays that change that up. This year, it's all the first Wednesday. So be sure to mark your calendar. Our next one is going to be March 4th. I believe we will have a conversation about water. We're going to find out. So more to come on that. Keep watching for that. We have a program sponsor for the day, so please join me in welcoming up Jen Close from Generation Housing.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, that's what I get? Come on. Let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, now we're talking. Jen Close, Executive Director of Generation Housing, where we advocate for more kinds and more affordable housing. And I've been here before. And I don't know what it says about me, but I think transportation is hella sexy. So I'm excited to be here today, and I'll be back here again. So we've been here, Generation Housing is here in Sonoma County for 6 years, and I want to just really fast say, like, what have we done? Because this is a room of doers, and you care about getting stuff done. In 6 years, we've got impact fee reform, making things cheaper to build in the county. Sonoma, Santa Rosa, Cotati, and Windsor. Design review boards and all kinds of boards collapsed into planning commission, and that saves time, and time is money. Come on now, time is money. That's what I'm talking about. $150 million bringing money in for affordable housing here in Sonoma County, and that is money that not just builds homes for people, which we care about, that help your businesses in all kinds of ways, but it's money, dollars that are circulating, coursing through the economic veins of our local economy. Helping to secure a fund for our own Red Housing Fund here. More than 5,500 units endorsed and entitled. That will serve, the affordable part of it will serve 52,000 people over the course of their deed restriction. 52,000 people that might work for you. We've got 5 years of innovative, accessible research and reports, and if you haven't poured over one of those beautiful things, we've got some outside and you should pick one up. 6 pro-housing designations in the county, that's better than anywhere in the state, and that is also going to pull down dollars from outside. What is next? We're advocating that our local jurisdictions adopt 2 state laws that are going to help get things built faster. They're going to help anyone in the building industry and create some missing middle workforce housing and early and new entry-level starter homes that don't exist now. That's SB 10 and automatic upzone near transit and in infill areas, and AB 1033 that lets you sell your ADU as a condo if you want. So we can instantly have a new class of starter homes without pounding a nail. Also, we're trying to collapse more of those design review boards because time is money. Work with me, thank you. And we are moving into expanding into Napa. Next is on March 5th will be our Housing Action Summit. You can sign up here, you can also sponsor, and it will be a great day where you're going to learn a whole lot more about AB 1033 and a whole bunch of communication skills that will not only help you tell the story of housing and help us increase housing here in Sonoma County, but also transferable to your everyday jobs. I promise, our events are great and we hope to see you there, and we hope that you will bring a friend. And that's it, thanks, welcome everyone. Oh wait, I forgot one more thing, God, Sonia was gonna kill me. That is that if you, at every table under AC, there's a Gen H keychain. One person has a Gen H keychain, and first of all, who doesn't need a keychain? And there's a mirror on the back, which is apparently the #1 safety tool you can have. And if you have a Gen H keychain, then you also get to afterwards go outside and pick out your own Generation Housing hat. If you don't have a Gen H hat, we have all kinds. I personally rock like a camper hat these days, but we got golf hats, trucker hats, dad hats, whatever we want. We just want you flying the flag, all right? Thank you.
Awesome, all right. Well, that's not the only giveaway. We're very excited about the keychain and the hat. It's not the only giveaway today. We do have some beer that we're giving away as well. So, here we go. We're gonna kick off with some self-introduction. So we do have a pop-up sponsor today over here at this table. So what I'm gonna ask is when the pop-up sponsor goes, this table is going to all do self-introductions, then sit down, and we'll have YWCA come back up and speak. All right, so as we come around, when you get the mic, we're gonna stand up and say our name and our business name, and then pass the mic.
Good morning, I'm Leslie Allen with WRA Environmental Consultants.
Good morning, I'm Angie Robinson, Business Development Manager at WRA Environmental Consultants.
Good morning, everyone. Christopher Nicholas, WRA.
James Cameron with the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities.
Gerard Giudice, City Runner Park and Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities.
Eris Weaver, Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition.
Dan Hennessy, City of Santa Rosa Transportation and Public Works Director.
John Cregan, Santa Rosa Chief of Police.
Carmen Sinajani, Spalding, Macola, and Tandil.
Linda Bowman, Summit State Bank.
Good morning, Jack Byrne, Navigate Inc.
Victor McKnight, Risk Strategies.
Ryan McKnight, Risk Strategies.
Gary Lentz, Loan Depot, Home Mortgage.
Good morning again, Tawny Tosconi, and my guest is Bridget Doherty, owner of Encore Events.
Good morning, Madeline Keegan O'Connell, YWCA. My guest today, the infamous, the legendary, Mr. Chris Smith, former Press Democrat Holmes. Here's his. Okay, so we've got a 1-minute pop-up. I'm going to start this 60-second timer. Chris and I are pleased to be here today. YWCA turns 50 in 2026. And as part of our celebration, you know us, YWCA. We're Sonoma County's answer to families who call our crisis hotline when they're experiencing violence in their own homes. We run child care centers that are therapeutic, and the glue that ties all of our programming together is our mental health services. So it's February.
It's February.
Famous for?
Valentine's Day.
We rehearsed, can you tell? We're presenting Love Letters, a beautiful play about a lifelong friendship of a man and a woman. I will be Melissa Gardner on February 13th, Friday, and you will be?
I can't remember my name.
Or his lines.
I'm Andy.
Andrew Makepeace Ladd III. We're going to be at the Carson Cabaret at the LBC. Tickets are flying out the door. I'm not even kidding you right now. It's Galentine event. It's Valentine event. Oh, people are nodding their heads. Okay, I went over a minute. Okay, thanks. See you on the 13th.
Good morning, Sherry Granzato, Wine Country Radio and Digital.
Hi again, Jen Post, Generation Housing.
Good morning, Sonia Big Barwick, Generation Housing.
Good morning, Vanessa Garrett, Sonoma County Public Infrastructure.
Good morning, Johannes Hubert, Sonoma County Public Infrastructure.
Justin Hunter, Holly Construction.
Good morning, Samantha Paul, Planning and Consulting, and proud to be one of your newest Business Alliance board members.
And if you are a guest, please make sure I get a card because that's how we're giving away the beer. And so far we have one person taking home both. So get your business cards to me.
Nick Fry, Palato Vineyards.
Paul Yeomans, Exchange Bank, past president.
Good morning, Nick Dexter, Leduc and Dexter Plumbing and Super Service Plumbing.
Bill Bolster, Electro-Optical Components.
Brian Lang, Real Estate Broker and Appraiser.
Good morning, Greg Hurd with BKF Engineers.
Artie Dexter, Leduc and Dexter and Super Service Plumbing.
Are you cracking one of those beers open over here? Oh, okay.
Good morning, Lori Rooney, North Bay Biz Magazine.
Marcus Navarro, 707 Promotions.
Pete Leskier, Leskier Engineers.
Joe Gaffney, St. Vincent de Paul.
Steve Bertelbaum with Friends of Smart.
Steve Swanheiser, Forest Conservation.
Good morning, Sean Jean, Burl Jean Race Consulting Engineering.
Dan Rosacci with the Round Barn Group at Morgan Stanley.
Rob Sandville with KLH Consulting.
Arthur Cheney, excuse me, I don't have a job, but I work with the Sonoma County SSU President's Council on Campus Police and Safety, member of Sunrise Rotary, and First Team North Coast Board member.
Chuck Root, Double Eagle Financial, and the First New Newsletter.
Lori Rodriguez with Gilwood, Berkle, and Millar, CPAs and Business Advisors.
Katie Dillwood with Christopherson Builders.
Kathy Goodacre, consultant, advisor, and coach.
Lisa Wicki Schaffner, North Coast Builders Exchange, and I have a guest with me today, our newest partner, Kelly Coogan, McCarthy Building Companies.
Greg Carlisle, BKF Engineers.
Ken LaFranchi, Architecture and Development.
Paul Donaldson, Argonaut Constructors. I have a guest today, Vice President of Operations at Argonaut, Dan Giordani.
Ryan Long, Connective Outreach, City of Cotati Planning Commission, and a new Alliance board member.
Roy Martinez, Exit Strategies Group.
Josh Goff, BMO Commercial Bank.
Jamie Agathan, Sonoma Clean Power.
Andre Moran, Rail G Race Consulting Engineers, and board member, United Way in Wine Country.
Ryan Kelly, WSI Smart Marketing, your immediate past president, and I have a guest with me today, Carson Amaral, who is from Edward Jones and Professionals with Pride.
Good morning, Ernest Burkhoff, broker and CEO at Burkhoff Realty and new Alliance board member.
Good morning, Monica Berrigan, Office of Assemblymember Rogers.
Good morning, Janet Connors and past president.
Jamie Woods with PCD.
Good morning, Jonathan So, Sotheby's International Realty.
Good morning, Jen Del Rosario, Sonoma County Office of Education and Schools Rural Sonoma County.
Good morning, Greg Medici, Sonoma County Office of Education.
Good morning, Mark Hale, Carlisle Macy.
Good morning, Megan Rhodes with Santa Rosa Junior College.
Kevin C., All Terrain Bookkeeping Solutions.
Art Dyke, Environmental Pollution Solutions.
Paul Schwartz, commercial real estate broker with Corcoran Icon Properties. More.
Good morning, Claire Hodgen of Corporate Icon Properties and a new member.
I can't even remember my own name, but Jen Collini Leap Solutions, and my guest is Terry Sanders, Santa Rosa Planning Commission.
Mark Stapp, Sonoma State and Santa Rosa City Council.
Scott Kincaid, Facility Development Company and SCA Chairman.
Eli Weinsvig, Career Technical Education Foundation of Sonoma County.
Jason Lee, Roseland School District.
Good morning, Matt Rhodes, PCD.
Good morning, Tim Schramm with Adobe Associates, Civil Engineers and Land Surveyors.
Mark Nelson, Midstate Construction.
Good morning, Dave Brown, Adobe Associates.
Kevin Zuko, ZFA Structural Engineers.
Steve Click, Bauer Associates and President of the Board of Sonoma County Fire District.
Jeff Rowland, B&L Glass.
Carly Gompertz, Midstate Construction.
Morning, Aaron Smith with Adobe Associates.
Good morning, Fran Arthur, Sonoma Clean Power.
Good morning, Mike Pickens, District Rep for the Operating Engineers.
Hello, Dana Ghirardelli with Sonoma County Farm Bureau and new Alliance board member.
Don Mills, Couvert Brewing, and board member.
Awesome. And if you are not a member, please consider joining. We are a membership organization and all of this is possible by our members. So thank you for being one in advance. I'm trying to find the best way to navigate out of this. Okay, we've got a maze going. All right, and we are going to ask one of our new board members, Samantha, to do the poll. We've got two, so you get to poll, but you can't peek. One. Fantastic, Carson. I'm coming to your house for beer later. And then Chris Smith. Perfect. All right, and I'll pass it back to Connie.
Thank you, Ty. So we have 3 speakers with us today, and so you're going to hear from each speaker, and then they'll join us here on stage for Q&A. So hold your questions until the final speaker, and then we will move forward with our program. So our first speaker today is James Cameron. James serves as an Executive Director of the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities, and he's been there since October of 2023. He leads regional, state, and federal funding efforts for transportation and climate programs, manages the Go Sonoma sales tax program, and guides long-range planning relationships for transportation, housing, jobs, and climate policy. A licensed civil engineer and land surveyor with over 25 years of experience, James previously served as Deputy Director of SCTA and now is as a supervisor and engineer at the City of Santa Rosa and a resident engineer with Caltrans. Gosh, you've got them all. Every government there. He holds a BS in civil engineering from CSU Chico. He probably should have been the guy to win the beer. Please join us in welcoming James Cameron to the stage.
Yeah, no, I would, you'll catch me at a local microbrew pretty often, so yeah, definitely the guy who, I didn't get my business card in quick enough, maybe next time. I do want to just give a quick shout out to transportation being sexy, right? I mean, that's something where I heard Adobe, ZFA, BKF, BNR, Argonaut, the operating engineers, all those guys have something to do with infrastructure, and I think they'll align with that comment that it just resonates. And it's been, for me, it's definitely been a lifestyle and you know, a very rewarding career thus far. It's been 2 years ago since I stepped into my current role. I do want to give a couple quick shout outs in the room to you know, my director, Gerard Judice, as well as we have 3 members of our Citizens Advisory Committee, Brian Ling, Steve Bertelbaugh, and Eris Weaver, who you know, help with the governance of the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities. Those of you who were at the ECA presentation in November, this is a very similar presentation. It'll give you an idea of you know, it might trigger a few extra questions for you that you have, and I cannot follow instructions. All right, we're going to start out with just a couple quick successes for the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities in 2025, right? So we had the Highway 101, the final ribbon cutting that happened, right? So that was a huge success. That's where we leveraged our sales tax 5-to-1 to add those carpool lanes that are out there right now. You know, my past 2 years as the executive director, prior to that, I spent 11 years as the deputy in charge of projects and programming, delivering that piece of infrastructure, of which I actually started on the first piece of the Highway 101 project in 2001, working for Caltrans. Looking at some of the leveraging that we've done with our sales tax, what did you press?
You really did go.
Oh, just a scroll. Right on. Here we go. I feel really old right now. Okay, so so Hearn Avenue interchange. This is a great success partnership with the City of Santa Rosa. We ended up contracting with Caltrans for the construction of that. Leverage dollars closer to 1-to-1 on that one. 116, 121 roundabout over there. This was a great success. That local sales tax provided all the early developmental phases. We attracted $19 million in state funds that allowed us for the delivery of that project, leveraging the sales tax 3-to-1. So I always want to leave that message with this group to understand the work that we do at the SCTCA. So let's go through a high-level overview. We're going to talk about the organization and the name behind it. And the history. We're going to talk about the Go Sonoma sales tax, our SCTCA funding program cycle 2, which is really where the dollars start rolling into the community to deliver those transportation projects that interest you. And then talk about our relationship with Smart and Caltrans, because we really are a collaborative agency and seek to bring the entire region of Sonoma County together, pulling in the same direction. So we are still two legal entities of the Sonoma County Transportation Authority and the Sonoma County Regional Climate Protection Authority, SCTA, SCRCPA, right? So instead of that, to be open, transparent, both internal staff collaboration and externally to all of you, we have always been, since 2009, one board and one staff and two authorities. So with that, we are now rebranded as the Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities, plural. Through the history, the passing the original sales tax in 2004, the legislation that started the RCPA in 2009, moving through the reauthorization of the sales tax when we were starting to get to the point where we had fully funded the Highway 101 program and transitioning the sales tax more to local projects in 2020, and then doing that first large call for projects back in 2023 where we brought together all the fund sources into one massive call so that you don't have this food fight that has been happening in prior years where you come up with, oh, we have $3 million to give away, and then we have 15 jurisdictions fighting over that, or $2 million. This puts all those funds into one larger pot and then allows to figure out what is the best way to prioritize and coordinate that investment. Moving forward into 2025 and beyond, through the strategic vision organizational alignment process we went to, you will be beginning to see that SCTCA rolling out more and more in the community as we go forward. It's been a lot of staff internal coordination in 2025, and you'll see it more and more. With regard to our role, right, so this is in a nutshell. We equitably plan, prioritize, coordinate, fund, and implement climate and transportation solutions that are safe, affordable, and sustainable. So it used to just be plan, fund, and implement. We added the prioritize and coordinate, because that is the hardest part of what we do, right? To bring us all together to decide what our priorities are and how we're going to fund them. Moving forward, small but mighty organization, total staff of 16. We still are working on the carpool lanes on along Highway 101, and we will be for the next decade. There's obligations with regard to mitigation and monitoring. There's also obligations to landscape and planting. How many of you here like the carpool lanes that are on Highway 101 right now? I got one. I'm not gonna point them out, but I saw at least one. Okay. So and that is the feedback. All right, maybe two. Yeah. Okay. The hours. Yeah. So so the hours will be changed, and at the end of the day, the hours will be an additional hour in the morning compared to what we've had for close to a decade around here. So the reduction of the robust hours that are out there right now will happen by the end of the month. Caltrans will change all those signs, and then I hope that the community is more satisfied than what happened initially with the work that expanded those hours well beyond what was necessary. All right, so with that being said, we're also working on a roundabout of 121 8th Street East. This is a project where we're doing the early developmental phases, looking to partner with Caltrans on delivery, some renderings of that project. This is right next to 121 at 116, where we're looking for that same model of leveraging state funds. We're very busy on the State Route 37 program. We call it the Resilient 37 program. There is a long-term planning document that has come up with the solution as an elevated causeway for the entire corridor. It is $6 to $11 billion for that corridor. And so when you're looking at what the work that is happening right now, there's really three primary things. One is a near-term solution between Sears Point and Mare Island. The other is looking at the long-term causeway just at the intersection of 37 and 121, and then the Novato Creek Bridge. So with regard to the Sears Point to Mare Island project, it's been broken up into 3 phases. That first phase we expect to go to construction later this year. What the project does primarily is it adds that extra lane capacity downstream of the intersection for that traffic that is heading eastbound into Vallejo by allowing that extension of that lane and extending the lane drop a few thousand feet past the intersection. That will help alleviate that PM congestion that occurs, and it will also lengthen the Tole Creek Bridge, allowing for about 1,200 acres of restoration and creating that tidal connection, so the ecology, both wildlife and water, allowing for restoration of the San Pablo Baylands. The long-term solution may look something like this. It may look different. We're interviewing a handful of consultants right now to establish how this is going to move forward. It was part of the commitment to the environmental community to make sure that we were looking at a longer-term elevated causeway as well as the near-term solution. The reason why we have both the near-term, which you're looking at something in the just over $100 million, is because this long-term solution, you're looking at something over $1 billion. So we need the congestion relief and the environmental restoration now. We can't wait to fund $1 billion project that will take a decade or more. Novato area is the other area you're going to see work happening on 37. This is between Highway 101 and Atherton. It's about a $1.7 billion project. What they've decided to do is take a $200 million piece in the middle over Novato Creek and construct that at the long-term elevation. That project will likely go out to bid next year in 2027 from Caltrans. Other things we're working on over at the SCTCA, the Redwood Bike Share. So I hope all of you have tried out the Bike Share. If you haven't, please download the app, check it out, you scan the QR code. It's real easy to ride, very convenient. I've been on it several times. We are coming to the end of a pilot in October, so we're looking for funding partners to figure out how we can extend this project. We don't want to just extend the bikes in time. We're looking to try to extend it at least another 3 years, but we also want to extend it, right? So there's no stations at Airport, there's no stations at Windsor. Those are both open smart stations. Healdsburg will be open within the next 3 years if we extend it. We'd like to see bikes up in Healdsburg too. So that's a key initiative for this year to figure out how to fund that going forward. MASCOTS is the acronym here. So Marin and Sonoma Coordinated Transit Service. We're very engaged with our partners in Marin County as well as our 5 transit operators in Sonoma County to look at transit and how it is operating since both SMART went online as well as the pandemic impacts. So this plan was developed over the course of the last 2 years. It will be implemented on April 11th. The major part of this plan that you will find is you will see a 19% increase in SMART service. So you'll have SMART trains running all day and all weekend at basically 64-minute headways. In some cases down to that 32-minute headway that they can provide. The Golden Gate Route 101 bus is going to go away in Sonoma County. So we're looking to make better connections between that 101 route and pushing the riders to the SMART train for that connection between Marin and Sonoma. You'll see much more of this in the media come the end of the month and into next month before it goes live. Talking about our Go Sonoma sales tax, this is really core to our organization, as I said, passed in 2020. Looking at the revenues going forward, we're about a little over $30 million now. We're looking at flat revenue through the course of this fiscal year and then kind of returning back to that 2 or 3% trend. The 2 or 3% trend has proved very true through the whole 20 years of our first measure that was referred to as Measure M. The expenditure plan for it is broken down into 4 major categories. 2 apportionment categories. Those apportionment categories are for fixing roads and transit. They're passed out through a formula that goes to our 3 bus operators as well as our 10 jurisdictions, the 9 cities in the county. The other 2 programs are competitive, and that's the call for projects that I'm going to talk to you all about next. So our SCTCA funding plan cycle 2 is where we try to align the goals. We focus on geographic distribution among all members, and we like to streamline that administration. So as opposed to having all these little calls for projects for all these little dollar amounts, one application, all the dollar amounts coordinated in one go. We've done this before. There's some information on our website of how we awarded $76 million in a prior cycle. Our current cycle right now, we're looking at about $73 million. We've done the call for projects. We have 72 applications that we're evaluating right now, and looking to deliver this program in a way that we align it with an MTC process, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and align it with those federal funds there, so we can coordinate countywide. These are some of the fund sources we want to leverage those dollars with. And this just gives you a little window into those 72 applications that we received. So you're looking at the 9 cities as well as the county, eligible recipients, as well as our 4 transit operators, the 3 bus operators and SMART. One of the biggest asks within this list that's over about an $800 million list is SMART's ask. So we like to talk about our relationship with SMART. Keep in mind how important the leveraging is when we have asks that are totaling 800 million, and that number we have is about 73 million. So you have to figure out how you're going to bring those other fund sources to the table. Working with SMART, we're very focused with them to finish the pathway components, that they have gaps in the pathway, as well as north to Cloverdale. And then ultimately, in the long term, as part of the Resilient State Route 37 program, we are looking at alignments to take from Novato Hamilton Station to the Sassoon Station that would connect you to Capitol Corridor. You could go anywhere in the country via rail. There'll be a presentation on these 3 alignments at our State Route 37 Policy Committee meeting on Thursday morning this week. All right, wrapping it up with Caltrans. So, we don't do a lot of project delivery when it comes to construction because we feel like our local jurisdictions do it well and within their own right-of-way. When it comes to work within Caltrans right-of-way, that's where we can add value to the process. So we partner a lot with Caltrans. Our board packets every month have updates from Caltrans that show, the status of their projects and their state-funded only ones. This one I thought was worth pointing out to you, State Route 116 at Highway 120, or State Route 116 at Lakeville Highway. This is a reactive safety project, so there's no local money on this. We do coordinate with Caltrans to make sure that they're, working well with the folks that they're buying property with, that we like the alignment and how it's moving forward. But these are improvements within our county that do not take any of our local dollars or any of our local sales tax to do. Also, we have overviews of Caltrans' investment within our county, which are well over $500 million, sometimes approaching a full $1 billion of investments over a 5-year funding program that they're implementing now. With that, our new website is up, sctca.ca.gov, and please check it out. It'll reroute you to the 2 other websites before, and we're looking to integrate those over the course of this next year. Thank you.
So our next speaker is Johannes Huberts, the Director of Sonoma County Public Infrastructure. Oh, sorry. In his work, Johannes has led the delivery and oversight of essential county services, including roads, bridges, transit, airport operations, waste management, and public facilities. He previously served in leadership roles in Sonoma County Transportation and Public Works and has extensive experience in civil engineering and infrastructure management. And if that is not enough for this man to be doing, he also was recently elected President of the County Engineers Association of California for 2026.
Good morning, can you hear me? So how sexy is transportation? I was at the psychologist last week and they showed me a picture of a bridge and they asked me what I think about that and I go, sexy. Showed me a picture of a road and I go, sexy. A picture of a retaining wall, sexy. And then they said, you have a sick mind. And I replied, you're the one showing me all the dirty pictures. I borrow that from a movie. If you know the movie, it's What About Bob? I'm Johannes Huberts, and I'm the Director of Public Infrastructure for Sonoma County. Public infrastructure was formed 4 years ago to merge transportation and public works and general services. And we have a budget of about $250 million and about 220 employees. In 2024, we delivered $74 million worth of projects, a combination of disaster projects and your typical transportation general services projects. In 2025, we delivered $95 million of projects, again, a combination of both. We have been preparing for the last 6 or so years after disasters to be able to pivot to transportation projects. And today I have with me our Deputy Director, Vanessa Garrett, who we just acquired from Run Park. She's been an excellent addition to our team, and she has the task of delivering now this year about $99 million worth of projects for roads. And that's a combination of intersection improvements, bridges, retaining walls, and disaster recovery projects. When I heard about this organization, by the way, this is my first time here, it really resonated with me, because when we're in public works, sometimes public works don't think about the impacts that they have in the community and the jobs that we generate during construction. And we want to do that, and we have been doing that since COVID. We released certain projects that at the time was appropriate to release during COVID when there was no traffic, for example. And we did a lot of projects based on that. So we're really excited to be able to deliver or propose $99 million of improvements to our board. Now, as you can imagine, we don't have $99 million in our bank to deliver this project. So we're going to take a plan to the board to help us cash flow that project. And we have been very successful working with the trades, with the unions, in lobbying our board to help us do that. One of the biggest things that we want to do is with this year's projects, we're going to be finishing the 2019 disaster projects, and that's the flooding project. So all the retaining walls, all the viaducts, everything from that disaster 2019, we plan on delivering this year. So that's on the roads side of the department, $99 million. And if you have any questions, I don't have a PowerPoint because I want to avoid what happened to James every time you go somewhere with technology. So we have a brochure here with all the projects, and Vanessa can answer all your questions. She's on top of the projects on the road side. On the vertical side, the board has decided to move forward with designing and building a new county government center. That's going to be a $320 million project. We're working on that. We have an architectural team on board. Part of providing new building and facilities for our employees included buying what was known as the Brickway campus. I forgot who was there before. Yeah, Medtronics was there before. So we purchased the property, and we are moving the register of voters there moved this week, and we have 3 more departments that are moving there. Tandem to that, we're working on the county government center. If everything goes okay with the environmental, the CEQA and everything, we hope to be in construction in 2027. It's about a 2 to 3 year plan to build that facility. We also are going to be working on expanding again the airport, building a firefighting facility at the airport. And there's a lot of projects that we're going to be doing. So we need your partnership, and thank you for some of you that have helped us with the community workforce agreements, or PLA, how they were known. We've been working really good with the trades. We have 3 bridges that we want to deliver this year, and we are really, really excited to be working with the community, generate employment within the county, and strengthen our infrastructure. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay, our final speaker is Dan Hennessy. He's the Director of Transportation and Public Works for the City of Santa Rosa. Dan leads planning, design, and delivery of transportation and public infrastructure to improve safety, mobility, and accessibility across the community. With more than 15 years of experience in transportation planning, traffic engineering, and multi-model system design, Dan previously directed major projects in Austin, Texas, and has extensive experience in major infrastructure and mobility programs. And, very exciting, he was honored in 2025 as one of the winners of the 40 Under 40, led through the North Bay Business Journal. And we thank him for being here with us this morning.
Hopefully it works. Hi everybody, appreciate the opportunity to be here to talk a little bit about our capital improvement program, what we've done recently, and what's coming throughout the rest of this year and into next year. Just wanted to summarize quickly how much work we've done recently and the type of work that has entailed. Earlier this year, we finished repaving more than 30 miles of streets damaged as a result of the 2017 and 2019 fires. This was a lot of coordination with FEMA and other partners and recovery agencies to find funding to do this, but a lot of those roads were damaged directly by the fires, a lot of them from all the trucking that occurred as a result of recovery efforts, from taking materials out of those areas, bringing new materials in. So we were really grateful for those partnerships to finish those projects. So paving on a lot of residential streets that otherwise wouldn't have seen that level of activity, new ADA improvements with curb ramps, and a lot of work to improve those areas and really taking entire neighborhoods in Coffee Park and Fountain Grove and making those improvements. As James mentioned earlier, we also finished the Hearn Avenue interchange in December. There's still some work out there regarding landscaping and some signal tweaks and things like that. But all lanes open to the public the week after Thanksgiving. This is an almost 20-year effort from initial concept to delivery. As James mentioned, it took a lot of funding partnerships with Caltrans, with the Transportation Authority, but really proud to have this open, especially the foresight to not only design for vehicle capacity, but really to open this up to people. Before this new interchange, there was one 4-foot sidewalk on one side of the 2-lane interchange. Basically made it inaccessible for anybody trying to get over it. Now we have a 2-lane cycle track on one side, a protected bike lane on the other side, 6-foot sidewalks on both sides with signals on either end that facilitate the movement of those people across the bridge. It also connects to a number of projects that we have going on the west side to improve bicycle and pedestrian facilities that we'll touch on in just a minute, but really thinking about this in terms of the longer view and the connectivity that this provides, and provides opportunities for people who traditionally haven't had it in Santa Rosa. We also just opened up the Colgan Creek Phase 3 project. This is a view of what it looked like last summer, but we've totally reconstructed that creek channel, brought it back to a more natural state, widened the path and added a pedestrian bridge over this. Also, this is part of the Colgan Creek Path Trail that will eventually connect to that Hearn Avenue interchange through a completely separated pathway. But restoring the nature, bringing back, the intention was to bring back some of the hawks, some of the turtles, other wildlife and flora and fauna that had previously been there but had been eradicated through previous creek channelization efforts 40 and 50 years ago, and restore it to a more natural state while also widening the channel's capacity to handle increased flood risk. Out at the treatment plant, we handle regional treatment for water for a number of jurisdictions within the county. We've built a new ultraviolet treatment facility, a $65 million project that's almost complete. It should be operational this month or next. We also started fixing pipeline leading to that treatment plant, so you saw a lot of work on Lano Road if you were out there last year. And the picture on the right shows us replacing that pipe by actually casting it in place while using a bypass system. There are a number of phases for that. We'll be doing that over the next several years, but the first couple miles of that was completed late last year. Lastly, we finished a big recovery project in replacing Fire Station 5 up in Fountain Grove. So this is at the corner of Fountain Grove Parkway and Stagecoach, thank you. $60 million fire station, beautiful facility that had its ribbon cutting in November. A lot of work went into that, a lot of partnerships, and also really appreciate the fire department's assistance in thinking forward about how best to recover, not just with respect to the facility itself, but its location and how it operates within our community. We also, in November, had a groundbreaking for another new fire station at the corner of Hearn Avenue and Dutton Avenue, the plot you see on the right, which will be a fire station right at the frontage of Hearn Avenue, a new Sonoma County library behind it for the Roseland neighborhood, and a future recreational facility behind it. That work is ongoing, and those facilities are anticipated to be open by the summer of 2027. Projects that are upcoming. We just finished bidding projects for some new roadway improvements. This is for Sonoma Avenue at Montgomery Village. That road bed has been terrible, but it also doesn't functionally serve everybody who's there. It is our second most used ridership hub for city bus. So we've made a number of improvements there to improve the experience for transit riders, but also to improve the service for bus operators to be able to get in and out of there much more quickly. We'll add some protected bike facilities, new crosswalks, and make that road safer for everybody while also doing a pavement maintenance project. You see there on the right, we don't have any sidewalks there, despite huge transit ridership and a major commercial hub. Those will be added as part of this as well. We just concluded the bidding for our Hopper Avenue roadway recovery project. Again, similar vein, you see on the road, on the picture on the left there is just a road that is very wide, it has no character. The backs of the adjacent neighborhood are fenced off and there's no activation of that space. Again, we're going to change that with some additional landscaping while we do that pavement maintenance, while also making this a connection to Coffee Park to the west and Cleveland Avenue to the east, to create more connectivity for people walking, biking, taking transit, in addition to improving the pavement condition for everybody who's out there. So you see that typical section there with the improved landscape areas, sidewalks and bike lanes in addition to the travel lanes. Maybe the biggest one that we've got. A couple weeks ago we finished the bid process for a new pedestrian and bicycle overcrossing over Highway 101 connecting the junior college on the east side and Connington Mall on the west side. This is another 20-plus year effort to get to this point that has had a number of funding challenges, a number of design challenges. We picked the hardest place in the city to try to put a new bridge over the freeway. We made it very fancy and very expensive, but we have our bids, we have a funding strategy. This award will be presented to our city council next Tuesday. Mayor, I'm looking forward to that discussion. Not without challenges, but I think we found a way forward if you appreciate a little creativity from our team.
Yeah, thanks for softening the ground, Dan.
I'm counting on one vote back there. Other projects that we'll be bidding shortly include a Calistoga Road rebuild. This road is in terrible shape. We've known for a long time that it needs to be reconstructed. There's also a number of water and sewer lines under here that need to be replaced, so we're doing that all at the same time to be there once. The way we've designed this concrete is intended to be a generational project that we don't have to be out there again for a very long time. Certainly not while I'm working. But we're going to be reclaiming the pavement depth underneath, reestablishing that subbase, and then changing the surface grade again to, again, make that road safer for everybody. We're going to tighten up some corners, lane widths. There is an elementary school along the way that we've coordinated with the PTA there about safety improvements that they see day to day in terms of getting kids to and from school. And so I'm really excited about this, not just as a pavement maintenance project, but also as a safety project for the community. On Pearson Street, immediately adjacent to the Prince Memorial Greenway. This is the street that was a street that was annexed as part of the county annexation about 8 years ago. It is a significant connection to the Santa Rosa Creek Trail and the Prince Memorial Greenway, but it has no accessible facilities. There's no drainage. There's no crossings. There's no curb and gutter. The way neighbors describe it is that they park, they walk, and they try to take care of their puddles and drainage all in the same space, and it doesn't work for any of those functions. So we're going to build proper curb and gutter, sidewalks, and storm drains there to clean up that street and provide some accessibility along with additional functions for the neighbors that live across there. Our last recovery project from the fires will be the Bicentennial Way and Fountain Grove Parkway repaving projects. These will also go out to bid this spring, but between this and Hopper Avenue, these are the last two projects on our list that are recovery projects from 2017 and 2019. So again, a lot of resources have come into the community from recovery efforts from other agencies, state and federal. But we're really looking forward to kind of closing this chapter and moving forward with improving things for the community, not just recovering from that devastation. In addition, the entire neighborhood of Oakmont has not had a preventative or pavement maintenance project since its inception, and we're going to do the entire thing next year. So that'll be bid later this summer. Also, we've committed the funding to do that. Again, by going in and taking a look at all of the pavement maintenance, we're able to make ADA curb ramp improvements, safety improvements on all those arterials and collectors through the neighborhood. Just by going and repaving, they all got to get restriped so we can reconfigure all of those streets through that process. We're going to do a similar project in Bennett Valley later this year and into next year to do a lot of smaller residential streets that have historically been neglected. I hope you're starting to sense a pattern here. We're really looking forward to doing safety improvements and taking care of the infrastructure that we have, not just expanding for the sake of expansion, but serving people better with the infrastructure that we do have, given limited resources. With that, we have part of that creek trail to the west on Dutton Avenue. There's limited connectivity to the creek trail. We have a project that will be bid in the spring to create a new ramp from Dutton Avenue down to that creek trail, heading out to the west. This is all in existing easements, and we're just negotiating an additional use for that easement right now, but that paperwork is almost complete. I have the great pleasure now to also be the city's parks director. And we are moving forward. There are challenges with that in that I don't know anything about how to design or prioritize parks, but the resources to build those, to utilize our capital projects resources to get them done are all in-house now. And so there's a centralized group of leadership and one vision for how to get things done. So we're focusing on both people, effort, and money to move projects forward rather than having disparate efforts of having to combine different visions into something that is cohesive. We'll be bidding a project on Kiwanis Springs Road later this year to build a new community park there. We'll also be, right now out to bid is a project to redo the Galvin Park tennis courts, improve those, and also create new pickleball courts. The pickleball community has been in my inbox. We also manage the water department's capital improvement funds, and we have a number of neighborhood sewer and water line improvements throughout. These are important projects for us as the Transportation and Public Works Department because they're an opportunity to repave all those streets also. When you go in to dig up the sewer lines, the whole street gets repaved. So we're helping to prioritize those based on where we see needs. It also gives us the opportunity to do curb ramps and other safety improvements in those areas. We have a couple at the treatment plant, some regional projects. We have significant flood issues out there. So we'll be building a new flood wall that will be bid later this year. It's a pretty significant project. We also have sewer and water line improvements over Santa Rosa Creek along Fulton Road. Again, that'll give us an opportunity to repave those southbound lanes that are in desperate need of improvement. We also have a couple, James mentioned earlier, partnerships with SMART. We have a couple of projects that will be bid later this year doing that. We have a very odd disconnect between the SMART path, the Joe Rodota Trail, the Santa Rosa Creek Trail, and 3rd Street to the downtown station. This is what you see looking at 3rd Street south, where at the very backside of that building you can see three different paths come together, and then it elevates about 5 feet off the road or off the paths and is just inaccessible to anybody. We're going to clean this up, create a connection across 3rd Street to the new cannery development and a new path to the SMART station to make that fully connected and have additional access to Railroad Square and to downtown. So you see that path there connecting the Joe Rodota Trail to 3rd Street. And then lastly, we have the Jennings Avenue crossing. We have an agreement approved by both the City Council and the SMART Board to move forward with this project. Mayor, I look forward to discussions about how we're going to pay for that. I think there's a plan, but again, it's a little bit of creativity. But this is what it looked like before SMART began operating. There's no fencing, so it was just a trail that people could walk or carry their bikes over. This is what it's looked like since. It's forced people to move to either College Avenue or Guerneville Road. Less safe, less comfortable connections, quite out of the way, adding more than a mile round trip to try to go around there. This is also a natural extension of the pedestrian bridge that we're building over the freeway, creating east-west connectivity across the city. So we'll be rebuilding that section of Jennings Avenue to elevate it a little bit and make the grades work to get a crossing across Jennings Avenue, and SMART will be leading that project on our behalf. Appreciate the time and look forward to answering any questions. Thanks.
And if you guys want to take a look at those slides again, they are on our website. So if you're in not the front row here, there's a QR code that'll take you right to that slide deck, both of them. And if you are in the front row and you want to look later, it's also on our website available to you. All right, questions? Here we go.
I would love to hear you describe the Venn diagram between your organization and MTC.
So MTC is, so we overlap a lot with MTC. So MTC is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is a nationally recognized organization. They control all of the federal dollars that go by formula to this state. So there's a ton of overlap between us with regard to they fund a lot of our planning efforts. They then support our comprehensive transportation plan, which then feeds into their Plan Bay Area, right? So from a planning effort, you know, we're doing planning that then they incorporate into the region's plan. And then the other, so there's the funding component, there's the planning component, and then the other part is like, we are in some regards, like trying to visualize that Venn diagram, we're like Sonoma County's MTC, right? So what MTC is to the 9 Bay Area counties, we are to those 10 jurisdictions and transit operators within Sonoma County. MTC would have to reach out to 101 cities to be able to do business and represent the entire 9 Bay Area counties, where what we do is we take that one county and those 9 cities and the county itself and have that conduit. But yeah, it is the governance structure that's in place for our area. I do think that having us as part of MTC or part of the whole gives us more strength. There is smaller counties that operate as their own MPO or Metropolitan Planning Organization. And I think when you talk about the delivery of those projects and the funding that comes to those counties, they have a much greater challenge competing for those fund sources without the backing of a larger MPO supporting them.
Thank you for your presentations, very informative and helpful. My question relates to evacuation routes, and I'm wanting to hear from you if the traffic of roads and cars and bicycles and walkable evacuation routes are being looked at in toto, and are they being planned together?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of the work that we're doing is retrofitting existing infrastructure, and so what we're not doing is moving curbs. So we're not doing is moving curbs. So the width of the pavement is exactly the same as it is today as after we install bike lanes. So in the case of an emergency or an evacuation, we can use all of that space similarly to evacuate, but on a day-to-day basis, what it does, what limiting those lanes do, narrowing them, is that it makes it safer so that, you know, the typical driver, it signals to them that this is not a 40-mile-an-hour road, it's a 30-mile-an-hour road, and it helps. That design helps reinforce and self-enforce those speed limits to increase safety outcomes for everybody. So we still have the same capacity to evacuate. In fact, we've increased it through having dedicated evacuation plans through different areas of the city. We have set our signals to be able to hit one button to send all the greens out of the city in different directions. Through work with the Public Works Department and the Police Department, we can also, we have different staging areas and plans to flush people out for Public Works and for officers to be out there to support those efforts. So yes, all of that has been considered. We're not really, if you look at it, we have reduced capacity on a day-to-day basis, but in case of an emergency, the same, if not more, capacity exists for those scenarios.
And getting the word out to people that we connect up?
That's our responsibility. Honestly, what we found is that in emergencies, people forget everything you've taught them. We have to do that, so we've got to be out there to tell them where to go. You start going, and we will get you where you need to go.
Hello, Dan. You're still in the hot seat here, buddy. I'm curious about, like, do you do sidewalks as well in our city, Santa Rosa?
So the city ordinance is that homeowners are responsible for their sidewalks. We do come in and fix some of them where we cannot get through to the homeowner, where we cannot get them to take responsibility for it. We have a plan or a pot of funding and a contractor to help repair them, essentially either patch them or shave them down so that some of the uplifts. But that is mostly reactive. We respond to reports. We have a database. We're out there within 72 hours. But it's only when they come in as complaints to us. We do not have anybody looking for those problems throughout the city.
Thanks.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for your presentation. I'm curious, what do you think are the 3 top solvable hurdles to getting these projects done faster?
So the first one is funding, right? Funding. For disaster projects, one of the biggest hurdles that we have to go through is the environmental regulations that we have on disaster projects. And I would argue that most disaster projects, if not all, should be exempt from the same regulations that we have when we build something new, because we're replacing in kind. So I would think the funding, the environmental regulations, I can't think about the third one. We have the resources, we have the workforce, the manpower. So if you remove those 2, at least, I think we can get a lot more done, at least from the county perspective.
Yeah, I think just adding to that, one of the more frustrating aspects of this position to me, one of the reasons I wanted to be a director of a transportation and public works department was to be a leader and present a coherent and cohesive vision that could be executed over a number of years. And I thought naively that moving into that position would give some level of authority to make that happen. And while I can present that approach, the number of people I have to get signed off for us to do anything is very frustrating. And that sometimes is funding, that sometimes is permitting, that sometimes is making sure that the roads that we're changing or the projects that we're doing and how they affect some development that maybe has an application or some fire station that might be here 6 years down the road is just, it is hard to coordinate all the different things that a city does. The Transportation and Public Works Department does not operate in a vacuum. And that has been the biggest learning lesson of my first 2 years in this role.
So I'm really curious about the roundabout at 116 and 121. How did that come about versus that acre of asphalt at Mark West and Old Red that's drawing people's ire, right, Samantha? Yeah, right. So yeah, what makes the difference there? Who made those decisions, and what would be the possibility of getting that acre of asphalt at Old Red and Mark West turned into a roundabout?
I'm going to pass the Mark West and Old Red component over to my friend Johannes over here. So it will come down to county priorities for a county intersection. And the 116, 121 project, I think I can answer the previous question a little bit with this as well about how to deliver projects or the hurdles to projects as well as how that came about. So I do want to echo the sentiment of funding, and then environmental clearance and permitting. I think those are your 2 biggest ones, but also right-of-way is the 3rd biggest one as well. So, you have private property rights, you have utilities, there is a process to be able to obtain the right-of-way and clearances you need to build these projects. When you have a project that is fully funded, that's an order of magnitude of the projects that you just described, I've been doing this for about 25 years. I don't know a way to do it that I can do that in less than 5 years for a fully funded project. And then as soon as you don't have the funding, everything goes slower because you go to someone and say, I need this utility moved. They say, well, is this a funded project? No, well then you drop to the bottom of the list, right? So to try to deliver these unfunded projects take an extra level of tenacity to actually get all the folks that are involved to do something. And with most of these projects, we do like to use a Christmas tree analogy where you keep adding ornaments to the Christmas tree and at some point that tree falls over and then you don't deliver projects. And we've had projects within this county that we've spent years on that have still not come to fruition and have been now crossed off the list. And crossing some of those projects off the list is the right choice because we have to prioritize the limited assets that we have or the limited resources that we have. When it comes to 116, 121, that was not only a priority of the voters that passed the sales tax in 2004, referred to as Measure M, it was a priority for Caltrans as well. And it was that seed money that was approved in 2004, and then our organization entered into a cooperative agreement with the county where the county asked us to deliver it. And we started in earnest on that project in 2012. The project then had to go through a full Caltrans oversight process. It had to relocate a park and ride where we had to buy land from a landowner that was not willing to sell. We had to make assumptions on permits for vernal pools that were in that relocated parking lot area that drove up costs substantially because we couldn't access the land until we had a full funding plan to where we had to do a friendly condemnation of that property. The homeowner was not opposed to it. They just didn't want us doing any sort of not homeowner, the landowner didn't want us touching their property until it was paid in full. And we weren't able to do that until we had a full funding plan. And you don't have a full funding plan until you can get to a point where you can say to grantors, hey, I'm ready to build. Now you can't tell them you're ready to build until you have the permits in the right of way. So it is this kind of chicken and egg thing that, you know, I've enjoyed most of my career, but at some point I would love to see a way to break that delivery paradigm and actually see us do some of these things. It's just very challenging when there's a lot of folks wanting to add ornaments to the tree and protect the beautiful county that we live in, right? And so some of those ornaments really make sense.
So Peter, I'm not sure how we got to where the constraints are on Marquette Springs Road on Old Redwood. I know that we've done some traffic calming, but I'm going to refer back to James. It's an issue of priorities. We have a tight right-of-way there. We would have to acquire homes. I think the whole thing is too narrow between Old Redwood and 101. So I know that we did sidewalks. We did the Hawk, the market, everything to try to calm and address traffic. But I can tell you that widening that road is not a priority for now.
Hi, I have one more question for Dan. I wanted to ask about a project that you didn't mention. It's a park project. I know you said you're the new parks director, but I wanted to ask about the Santa Rosa Southeast Greenway. I understand it's out for a bid right now, and I was just wondering if you can give us an update on that project and what the city priorities are as far as like, I know there's a lot of components, but like what's the main driver, whether it's like community connection or open space or just improved facilities, and I know there's a transportation element as well.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So late 2024 and early 2025, we closed on acquiring the proposed future extension of Highway 12 that was Caltrans right-of-way between Farmers Lane out to Spring Lake Park. That was never going to be a highway with the environmental movement of the last 30 years and the common sense of what this community actually needs. Caltrans lost the desire to build it. We offered to take that and turn it into a park. Where we're at right now is we have set aside funding for the complete master plan effort, and that is the bid opportunity that was mentioned that's out right now. We have partnered with the Southeast Greenway Campaign Committee, who was a volunteer organization, grassroots organization, who really spurred the discussion of converting this from future freeway, dividing the community, to park, reconnecting the community, and the Sonoma Land Trust, who facilitates the preservation of ecological resources throughout the county. They are also a huge philanthropical partner for us. They have raised already a significant amount of money to help master planning efforts. They're already engaging partners on early delivery projects once we know where they are. We've been talking to the Federated Tribes to understand where we can and can't build ahead of those master planning efforts. So we expect that master plan process to take about 1.5 years, and sometime by summer of 2027, we would have a master plan and then start looking at actually delivering improvements. The only thing that we've said in the master plan and the only thing we've committed to the community is that there will be a trail that connects the west side of the property all the way out to Spring Lake. The rest of it is for the community to tell us. We have asked for a very significant community outreach and engagement process at the request of the Sonoma Land Trust. That is what some of those donors really wanted to see, so we have honored that request. Both of those organizations will be partners throughout the master planning process, and I promise you, you will see us out and about, given the resources that we've dedicated to community engagement throughout that process. As far as the priorities, this will be it. I mean, this is the biggest thing that we're going to do related to parks in our lifetimes. Luckily, we've got a couple years to figure out exactly how that will happen, and we have partnerships to help make them happen. In addition, because it connects on the east side to state and regional park, or to county and regional parks, we also expect them to be partners also as part of this process and figure out exactly what's happening on the eastern side of the property approaching those other parks. So a lot to figure out, but a huge opportunity that is at the top of the list for us to make sure we get right.
Great, well, big round of applause for our speakers. It's exciting to hear about all these projects. So I'm just astounded at all the things you guys are doing, and hopefully some of you guys in the room will be involved with these projects as contractors, and it'll help our local economy. So once again, we can't drive home enough how important it is, if you enjoyed today's programs and all the programs that we do here, and I think they are amazing, that you consider being a member of our organization. We have a lot of folks who enjoy our monthly meetings, but they're not all members. And I'm not so sure you all know if you're a member or not. So if you're not sure, hire, and I can help you with that. We can help get you settled with membership. And it really is what drives our organization. We've had 50 years of amazing work. We want another 50 years, but it really does take, beyond the breakfast meeting fees that you guys pay, it really does take those membership dollars to help us. So hope you all consider that, and thank you. We will see you on March 4th.